Hello, Magic Makers. Welcome to Storytime with Mombierella. This is a young adult fiction and may be inappropriate for some younger audiences. Mother Knows Best, A Tale of the Old Witch by Serena Valentino. Copyright Disney Enterprises Incorporated, 2018. Chapter 17, Part 1. Blood and Flowers. It had been several weeks since the solstice, and the strange sisters were still in the dead woods. Jacob kept his reservations to himself, and Gothel kept him busy, so she wouldn't have to see his disapproving looks and the worry on his face. She was convinced it was she her mother had seen in her vision, and these witches were the only way she was going to be able to save her sisters. Hazel and Primrose had now taken to their beds. They were weak and in constant pain. Gothel couldn't stand to see them that way, and hid herself away in her mother's library, with Lucinda and Ruby, desperately trying to find a way to save them. Martha stayed with Hazel and Primrose, doing everything she could to make them more comfortable. She brewed them a daily poppy flower tea to manage their pain. She'd offered to put them into a deep magical sleep, but Gothel was fearful that if their condition changed while they were sleeping, she wouldn't know. "I can send them to the land of dreams, Gothel. They'll be happy there, content and no longer in pain," Martha had said with sad eyes. "But they wouldn't be able to tell me if they needed me. Please don't send them away," Gothel said. She could see the heartbreak in Martha's face. "I understand. I will brew a powerful tea to keep them calm and without pain. It's made from the seeds of poppies. I promise it will not harm them." She touched Gothel's hand tenderly. "Yes, please do that." Gothel felt helpless, but thankful. Not so alone with the odd sisters there to help her. Gothel played the conversation she'd had with Martha again and again in her mind, wondering if she'd made the right decision to keep Primrose and Hazel sedated rather than put in a magical trance, as she pored over her mother's books, desperately trying to find a way to save them. "Gothel, please stop torturing yourself," said Lucinda, reading both Minia's Book of the Dead and Gothel's Mind. "What's that you're reading?" asked Gothel. "Nothing that will help us, I'm afraid," said Lucinda, putting down the book in the pile, designated as useless to their cause. "May I ask you a question? Why don't you want to give your sisters your mother's blood?" "They don't want it, especially Primrose." "At this point, I don't think she has a choice if she wants to live," Lucinda said, giving Gothel a sad look. "It feels like I would be forcing something on her she doesn't want, but I can't stand by and watch her die." "That's exactly what we're doing. We're on a death watch, Gothel. Whatever your reasons for not wanting to use your mother's blood, you need to make a choice. Either use your mother's blood, or your sisters die." "I think you're right. I really wanted to find another way, but it doesn't look like we will. I feel terrible we didn't use the blood sooner, but honestly, I'm afraid, Lucinda. I'm afraid of what will happen to us once we take her blood. And not just because my sisters will know my thoughts, but because I'm worried I will become more like my mother, and I will lose my sisters forever." "You will definitely lose them forever if you do not use your mother's blood," said Lucinda. Gothel sighed. "Keep looking. We need to find the blood ritual." "I have it right here, Gothel," said Lucinda. "Thank you. I'll be right back." Gothel stood at the door of her sister's room. "My beautiful sleeping sisters." Martha heard Gothel's thoughts. "They are beautiful. I will give you some time alone with them. Where's Lucinda?" "She's in the library," said Gothel, not taking her eyes off her sleeping sisters. "I'll go find her," said Martha, patting Gothel on the shoulder. Gothel quietly walked over to her sisters. She didn't want to wake them, but she wanted nothing more than to see their eyes. She just stood there, looking at them and wondering if they would be okay. Wondering if they would ever forgive her for giving them their mother's blood against their will. And like magic, Hazel opened her eyes and said, "Gothel, I love you." She held out her hand. "Take my hand, sister." Gothel took her sister's hand. "What is it?" she asked, tears running down her face. "I trust you, Gothel. I want you to know that." Gothel couldn't help bursting into tears. She sobbed and sobbed. "Thank you, Hazel. I hope Primrose will be able to forgive me." Hazel smiled weakly, drifting back to sleep. "Don't worry. She will." Gothel hoped Hazel was right. "Sleep now, my sister. I love you." But Hazel was asleep. Gothel met with Lucinda, Ruby, and Martha in the hallway on her way down to the vault.
"Can you sit with my sisters until I come back?"
"Of course, it will be our pleasure," said Lucinda. As she was about to open the vault door with the large skeleton key, she was overcome by an inexplicable feeling that her mother was waiting for her in the vault.
"Don't be ridiculous, Gothel," she told herself.
Maybe it was just her mother's blood she was sensing. Maybe it was nothing at all. But she couldn't shake it. She'd been standing there for what seemed like hours before she finally opened the door. There was nothing there but a wooden chest with her family's fortune. They had more money than they could need for many lifetimes over, but she supposed that was the point. Her family members lived extremely long lives.
"Focus, Gothel. Find the blood."
She counted from the ceiling like Jacob had instructed her, pushed the 7th stone. There was a resounding sigh as a stone drawer sprung out of the wall, knocking her in the chest. It was as if her mother was giving her one final blow. But that wouldn't be the final blow, would it? Not if her sisters died.
"Stop it, Gothel,"
she said aloud, to no one but herself.
"Your sisters are not going to die."
Her mother's blood was in the drawer, as promised. It was in a glass bottle sealed with a wax cork. Along with it was a note. Gothel's hands shook, and her heart sank as she read it. She couldn't bear to see her mother's handwriting. It was fancy script and old-fashioned, the capital letters large and ornate. It was addressed to her.
"My dearest Gothel, if you are reading this, then I have passed into the mist without giving you my blood. It is likely your instinct is to share the blood with your sisters, but this blood is meant for you alone. If your sisters should ever fall ill, the only thing that will help them is the Rapunzel flower. Take your sisters to the conservatory amongst the flowers, and recite this incantation. Flower, gleam, and glow. Let your power shine. Make the clock reverse. Bring back what once was mine. Heal what has been hurt. Change the fate's design. Save what has been lost. Bring back what once was mine. What once was mine." As the flowers glow, your sisters will be restored. Keep reciting the incantation until they are fully healed. This is your most important magic, Gothel. This is how you will stay young, as long as you wish. Protect the flower, my black-hearted daughter, until you're ready to meet me and your ancestors in the mist. Mother. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, share with a friend, comment down below. And remember, let it go and keep moving forward. Have a magical day. Bye.